Yeah, that girl is murder. Everybody get down. Oh, that girl is murder. Everybody get down. Welcome to Back to StillerBros at the movies.
What the fuck was that?
Murder by Justin Timberlake.
Oh, okay. Okay, guys. So today we are going to be seeing a classic whodunit in the style that only one of the greatest living film directors to suck on that fandom menace, Rian Johnson, can give us.
So Rian Johnson is clearly an admirer of the classics when it comes to making movies, and we're not going to go deep into his filmography or the previous movie in his filmography or anything like that. Now is not the date in December to do so.
No, but today we talk about. But his first movie, Brick, was obviously a noir, and Looper was obviously a sci-fi movie. But one thing that has always stood the test of time in Rian Johnson's movies is mystery, and today he goes full tilt into the mystery with Knives Out.
So this movie has been around for a while in Rian Johnson's mind. Apparently, this was going to be the first movie he was going to make after Looper until Disney called and said, "You want to make a Star Wars movie?" And he was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to make a Star Wars movie."
Hey, you want to get a whole bunch of money to make more Star Wars movies?
Fuck yeah, I want to get a whole bunch of money to make more Star Wars movies.
You want to not spend the money on hookers and cocaine?
But yeah, Rian Johnson, a almost certifiably genius filmmaker making a mystery, is interesting. It's very much an Agatha Christie style story.
And of course, Rian Johnson, because of The Last Jedi, has gained a pedigree that got him to assemble probably one of the most stacked casts of the year.
We've got Daniel Craig, Don Johnson, Chris Evans, Michael Ern Shannon,
Jamie Lee Curtis, Christopher Plummer,
and so many others. The cast is just incredibly. It's the most star-studded movie. Daniel Craig is leading out the cast as the detective, or at least that's how the advertising seems to play it. The movie has been built on, and basically when they released trailers, they decided to make two different kinds of trailers. The first one is essentially, here's a bunch of jokey, this is a weird family, all that kind of stuff, comedy type things with it. And then the second one reminded you, oh, by the way, someone does die in this movie, so you should probably keep that in the back of your head so that you don't think that this is just basically this is where I leave you, only with the idea that there's a murder, that the guy got murdered.
Yeah, and obviously there's going to be plenty of twists and turns going through this movie, and we're super excited to see it because I'm going to be seeing every Rian Johnson. Ever since I saw Looper, I'm pretty much determined myself to be seeing every single Rian Johnson movie till either the day he dies or the day I die.
And as it comes down to it, this cat, and like we were saying, man, with the cast being stacked, it's amazing. And some of them are just playing into their roles, like Michael, I will find him Shannon, or Christopher Plummer, or Don Johnson, Jamie Lee Curtis. But then there's guys like Chris Evans, who is playing the character he has not played since Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
He is playing far against type because we have his first ever post-Captain America role.
And he is playing an asshole.
And that is pretty freaking amazing.
And that's the thing. When that first trailer dropped, everyone was loving Chris Evans' character above all else, just because it was Chris Evans playing the exact opposite kind of character of Steve Rogers. And now it's a star-studded cast, a murder mystery based on an original project, and it overperformed at the box office. We're recording this a week after the movie was released, mostly because Thanksgiving, we are busy over the course of the week of Thanksgiving and everything like that.
Yeah, so we are finally seeing this. We have kept away from spoilers, except for the fact that it's a lot of white people wearing sweaters.
It's really easy to keep away from spoilers because a lot of the people we follow on Twitter who have seen this movie are either nice about it or We just don't follow assholes who spoil movies on Twitter, especially assholes who spoil movies that are not based on any original source material.
Yeah, so there's no way we can know going in what any of this movie comes out to.
Because this is an original idea that Rian Johnson himself came up with. This is not, he brought it from he dug up an old Agatha Christie novel and remade it, and then There Were None, or Clue, or, by the way, there's a lot of assholes on IMDb who are calling this a low-grade Clue knockoff, to which I say, Clue was knocking off Murder on the Orient Express and then There Were None, and all these other movies based on the popular mystery novels of the time. So if anything, Clue is knocking off those, and Rian Johnson's just piggybacking off of that.
FYI, if anybody wants to make it and then where They Were None remake, I would be all over that. Just simply so we can get a newer version of that into the world.
Yeah. So, but what else is there to say? Rian Johnson's reteaming with his original composer, his cousin Nathan.
He's obviously, and this is the first time he is producing one of his films alongside his producer for all of his films up to this point, Graham Bergman, under their new production umbrella.
And yeah, I mean, this is pretty straightforward. There's no big franchise to talk about our feelings on. There's no character beats, more character beats to talk about. We've gushed about Rian Johnson's, all we've seen of Rian Johnson's filmography.
Yeah, but. And again, there's more to talk. There will be more to talk about with Rian Johnson's filmography in a couple of weeks. But until then, I guess right now we'll just see you guys after the jump.
So, quick warning before we get into the actual movie: this is a mystery. It does not, as we stated before, it does not have any prior source material. There's no book you can read. There's no short story you can dig up. There is nothing. So, if you do not want to, we are going to be very careful. But if you have not seen this movie yet and you want to, you might want to stop, because we may blow something that is central to the mystery of the movie. All we can tell you right now is see this movie, enjoy it, then you can come back to this video and watch us discuss it.
Yes, because this movie is amazing.
So, we're going to give you a quick couple seconds to click off the video now if you do not want to get anything spoiled. Once again, we're going to be very careful, but anything that you may get from this video, from our discussion here, is your own fault.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, now that the idiots are gone, this was by far and away one of the best reveals of a mystery I could ever think of in the recent movie history.
So it's a big. So the mystery of this movie is very well built and told. It's told in a very interesting way. So essentially, while most mysteries will retell the story multiple times from multiple different angles in order to facilitate, hey, maybe this person is telling the truth. This one shows what really will have the character say, hey, their false story, and then show what really happened over the top of it.
Yeah.
But it's also got some twists and turns, even though by the end of the first act, you pretty much know exactly what happened in the story.
But you don't. But then you don't.
There's a whole mystery to it, and the actors play it well. The direction is incredible. The writing is twisty and turny and just good for everything it needs. So let's get a little deeper into it. Rian Johnson is a visual master when it comes to storytelling. He doesn't make the flashiest of. No, he doesn't always make the flashiest movies, but he knows how to tell a story through cinematic language, or even just how to move a prop in the movie to properly show this part of the story is how I am telling it, all the way down to the final shot of the movie.
Yeah, we have a bunch of different. There's such easy to decipher cinematic language throughout the entire movie that you can just see, and it's all intentional. If you watch the making of for The Last Jedi, you know how intentional a lot of his stuff, the stuff he puts in the movies is. From things like hand placement to prop design to basically to the simplest bit of visual storytelling of having a character who is being deceitful, almost entirely engulfed in shadow, and having but also having certain things that you don't even think about coming back. Yeah, and it's just to kind of, it makes you have to pay attention because, which is something you should always do with a whodunit, because you know for a fact stuff's going to come back, even little minute details that you weren't 100% sure would come back.
So with a stat cast like this, you know you're going to get a lot of great performances. Jamie Lee Curtis has quite a few moments as Christopher Plummer's daughter. Don Johnson takes a great comedic turn with whole bits of dialogue that I can't be sure if he improv'd or not, because those just seem, because they were like in the middle of crowd scenes where he just out of nowhere screams these are hilariously offbeat. Why were you thinking about this thing?
Same with Michael Shannon. The same thing with Michael Shannon.
Yes.
Him and Michael Shannon, they
play off each other. I feel like they had a bet to see who could shout the crazier shits throughout the entire movie, throughout certain scenes where Ryan Johnson just wanted them to ad-lib.
Chris Evans is really great in this.
He is just a lovable bastard in this movie, and that's just the kind of thing. And like I said, and this is a role he has not, and this is the type of role he hasn't played since Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, but he kind of played it in his big first movie of Not Another Teen Movie.
Yeah.
And Daniel Craig in his doing his Hogan Lucky Southern twang accent, just there to remind you that underneath James Bond there's a fantastic character actor.
Yeah.
Lakeith Stanfield is here, but he does a great he turns in a great performance as the detective who's just kind of there to shepherd Benoit Blanc around onto the crime scene and everything like that.
And we have a great little cameo appearance by one of the greatest performers in comedy history, Mr. Frank Oz.
Yes, a quick little bit part by Frank Oz, just to remind you that Ryan Johnson got his number on the set of Ahead of the Last Jedi.
Yes.
Along the way, and while the whole story does seem to take place while the trailers seem to be selling the whole story seems to be more like the Murder on the Orient Express and Then There Were None and all this kind of stuff where it's like it's just a straightforward mystery where we're going to spend the whole movie unraveling the mystery, or as we just pointed out, watching Daniel Craig unravel the mystery. The focus is is in a much different place than you would think.
Yeah.
But yeah, once again, everybody turns in a great performance. I feel like this is a particularly weird movie to watch with under a certain audience, because you can kind of tell that that even though Ryan Johnson makes it very clear that the fandom menace isn't getting to him, a few things might have gotten to him, because there's literally a character in here who is an alt-right trolling monster.
Yeah.
So
a little teenage shithead.
So obviously he felt he needed to actually address this in some way.
It does get a little political, but it really feels like a kind of movie that makes you feel. But it really is a movie that makes you feel better about your own family in a lot of ways.
Because while you may argue with your family members on the other side of the political spectrum.
Because while your uncle may be posting some stupid shit he read on Breitbart or Fox News, who's on Facebook and making it seem and being extra Trumpy,
at least no one has resorted to murder.
As of yet, not yet anyway.
Yeah.
We'll see what Christmas has to hold.
But yeah, this might have been. It's an interesting film to release around Thanksgiving. Is basically what we're saying.
Yes.
And Ana de Armas is also pretty good in this. I'm sorry we've been jumping over her, but we've
been jumping over her but the movie really revolves around her. We're following her for most of the story.
So it's just kind of, so it's just kind of an interesting turnaround. The trailers make it seem like we're following Daniel Craig, but we're actually following Ana de Armas, who plays Christopher Plummer. By the way, he is also good in this for as little as he is in this.
He's in like the first maybe 45 minutes, and then he just kind of fades into the background.
He's in it but he does a bit. But he's in it. But I'm gonna be honest and say that he has a much more memorable turn in this than Johnny Depp had in that last Murder on the Orient Express remake.
Yeah.
But Ana de Armas plays Christopher Plummer's live-in part-time nurse. So it's gonna. But her character is very much a bigger part of the mystery than any of the trailers let on, because the trailers just seem to focus on the family and Daniel Craig's investigation and everything like that. But it turns around. But the movie turns around.
You're diving into this kind of from the outside looking in, and there's a lot of exposition in like the first 15-20 minutes, but it doesn't feel like exposition because it's because it just has that cheesy whodunit stuff going on about it.
And the exposition's delivered in such an entertaining and charming way that you just kind of feel that it kind of feels like you're getting you're getting to know this family.
But and then when we get to the final reveal, the whodunit, where they just lay out everything that you may have missed, or that they've had, that Ryan Johnson more than likely had a Charlie from Always Sunny crazy wall up in his house laying out. It just feels it just is the perfect whodunit scene.
This is the part where the movie turns into more of a conventional mystery thriller, where it's like, here's how it happened, and here's footage that we shot of the actors acting out all the things that would have actually happened in this scenario.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're not going to tell you who obviously, even though we are still giving away a bit of the game. We're going to be careful and not say who the killer is by even the actor or anything like that. We're just going to let you know that this movie is good. If you have not seen it yet, because it's been a week, but if you have not seen it yet, go ahead and see it. It's great. Fandom menace be damned, and please don't let the IMDb review, any of those IMDb reviews, come out and say, hey, this movie sucks just because he made that space movie I didn't like and chose to build my whole identity around not liking.
Yeah. So that's basically all we gotta say, because again, should probably turn this off before we start spoiling stuff.
But that's it. Yeah. Knives Out is good. Go see it if you haven't seen it yet. But be sure to favorite. Why did I just say favorite?
Yeah.
Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to tune in next time when we take it to the next level. Bye. Yeah.